Third strikeout for Zack.
He's going to just watch it go. A grand slam for Bryson Stott.
And there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
From WHYY, it is Hittin season. Hey there, podcast pals. I'm Jhoan Stolnis from The Good Phight. You can follow me on X and Blue Sky at Jhoan Stolnis. Coming up, Phillies take a weekend series from the Detroit Tigers, and that's not all as we're recording here on Monday night. The Phillies absolutely spanking the woeful Baltimore Orioles at Citizens Bank Park. It is a party in Philadelphia right now. The vibes suddenly pretty good here in Philadelphia. And so joining me to talk about this game against the Orioles, game one of this three-game series, as well as the weekend that was in Philadelphia against the Tigers, Justin Klugh and Liz Roscher here for the roundtable. Liz Roscher, of course, you know as the editor of the Baseball Research Journal for SABR. You can follow her on X and Blue Sky at Liz Roscher. Liz, oh boy, we've had some fun baseball these last 4 nights.
We certainly have. And tonight, Monday night, is absolutely no exception. Lots of runs being scored, lots of things happening. But it was a fun weekend to watch baseball for the most part.
Yeah, a crackling electricity at Citizens Bank Park with the Detroit Tigers in town. And this is not a storied rival or anything, unless, there's still bad blood from the Glenn Wilson trade, back in the late 1980s.
Lance Parrish.
That's right. Still harboring bitterness and resentment for the Willie Hernandez trade. That's what it was. Willie Hernandez trade.
Half of our listener base is like, who?
Yeah. I'm just talking to my people right now. It's
and
just
the other half is going, awesome.
It's just us guys.
And that's what we go for here. That is our aim, to alienate half our audience with every joke we make.
Yeah, that's par for the course for us here at the Hittin Season podcast. But Justin Klugh, the other third of the roundtable, he, of course, writes for Baseball Prospectus. He has the outstanding podcasts over at our Hittin Season Patreon, Absolutely Hammered and The Dirty Inning. Follow him on Blue Sky at Justin Klugh. Justin, what's up with you, buddy?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm going to have some more to say about this in the very near future, but watching tonight's game kind of become the blowout it is just it feels like the Phillies have entered a different form. And there was a point in this game where the Orioles took the lead very early, and Jesus Luzardo is pitching, and right at this point he's not really He's certainly not the dominant starter we saw earlier in the season. His starts are a little more of a gamble, and watching him give up a couple of home runs early was just like, oh, okay. So this is probably one of those games where Harper hit a home run early. This is it's a good start. Like they've got this one locked up, and then no, Luzardo just doesn't have it, and they're going to be bleeding runs, and the Phillies aren't going to be able to keep up. Very easy to go to those places because of the way this team has operated to this point, but they're riding some good juice right now. And I think there's some factors involved in that, but just to see it unfold tonight, that narrative got blasted out of the park a couple of times by Kyle Schwarber, and you're just reminded that yes, remember, this team is confounding and befuddling and infuriating, but they're also very good and very close to, if not in first place for all of this season.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into this Monday night game here against the Orioles, because really there's a high going on right now with what's happening with the Phils. They're getting all factors are getting done tonight. Offense, the pitching's been good. Like you mentioned, Jesus Luzardo, a couple of mistake pitches here in this game. You're still worried about him pitching from the stretch and being able to execute, but did hold down the Orioles to 3 runs in this game. The offense, though, the story of the game, and really the hero of this game on Monday night, Kyle Schwarber, the MVP chance cascading down from the stands for Kyle Schwarber. And it was kind of an interesting, fun little side nugget to talk about a couple of weeks ago. Hey, what kind of MVP votes could Kyle Schwarber get with the season he's having? He's kicking it up into 2006 Ryan Howard mode right about now, with 2 home runs in the game on Monday, one of them a grand slam, 6 RBIs, 3 for 5 on the night. Now with 40 home runs on the season, he is second in the National League betting odds, everybody. He's rising up the charts very quickly there. And Scott Lauber tweeted out comparing Ohtani's and Schwarber's numbers, and just just think about these for a second. Ohtani's hitting 274. Schwarber is at 256. Ohtani's on-base percentage is 379. Schwarber, slightly better at 380. Ohtani, a 603 slugging percentage. Schwarber right behind him at 592. Both are designated hitters, obviously, although Ohtani does pitch a little bit here and there. Schwarber has more doubles, 17 to 14. Ohtani has more triples, 7 triples to Schwarber's 1 triple, but Schwarber now with 40 home runs.
Oh my God, Kyle Schwarber has a triple.
I haven't even gotten to the most shocking statistic yet.
It feels like that's the MVP right there.
Well, here, I mean, check this out.
Is it?
40 home runs for Schwarber, 38 for Ohtani, 94 RBIs to 73 RBIs for Ohtani. So Schwarber has a 21 RBI lead. Now, RBIs are team stats. They're not individual stats. Nevertheless, I'm putting them out there. Did you know Kyle Schwarber has 10 stolen bases?
I knew that's what you were going to say, and it was
Ohtani has
bases.
15. Ohtani only has 5 more stolen bases than Kyle Schwarber right now.
Yeah, that and the triple thing, I think, are very indicative of how how Kyle Schwarber. Interesting. Kyle Schwarber can really sneak up on you. You might hear the thundering steps of a Stegosaurus approaching from behind, but you're not thinking about it because you're like, well, that can't possibly be Kyle Schwarber. And then it's him, and he's at second base, and he's done it 10 times. I definitely feel like there's been an intent to use that unexpectedness this year. They've been aggressive with him on the base paths. It's been it's been a I don't know if we can call it a new dimension to his game, but double-digit steals, that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. True. I mean, that's legitimate. Those are legitimate 90 feet. You know what I mean?
It's getting yourself in scoring position 10 times.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, I mean, Ohtani is still the favorite. And I'm just kind of curious, what do these numbers have to look like in order for Schwarber to overtake him? I guess it may be based on the level to which the writers feel each player is carrying their particular team, because I think Ohtani has more help for sure, and Schwarber has a team loaded with star players around him, but they don't often play like stars. I mean, he's got Bryce Harper running with him right now, and Harper's as hot as anybody. He homered on Monday night as well, but Kyle Schwarber's last 15 games, hitting 305, 388 with an 831 slugging percentage. He has 9 home runs in his last 15 games, a 1219 OPS. He is the first player in Major League history to hit at least 38 home runs in his first 4 seasons with any team. And now 10 home runs post All-Star break are the most in Major League Baseball. So Liz, does he have a legitimate chance to win the MVP? We were kind of, just mentioning it as it kind of being up in the air, a little bit. He's really kind of he's a legit candidate now. I think he's moved past Pete Crow Armstrong in terms of the National League MVP race. And I'm curious what you think the gap is between him and Ohtani right now.
I think it'll be tough no matter what for him to beat Ohtani, because it's never been specified that the MVP is an offense only award. And since Ohtani pitches and adds that, I think it'll be hard for him to beat him unless, how many more home runs could Kyle Schwarber hit in the next 2 months? He's already at 40. How many more could he hit? And how fewer than that could Ohtani hit? Like if Schwarber hits over 60, which I think isn't out of the realm of possibility right now.
He's got 2 months.
He's got 2 months. Yeah. That's such a long time.
He's on pace for 58 now. He is now on pace to match Ryan Howard's 58.
That's what I'm thinking. Like if he can hit 60 and be far enough ahead of Ohtani, I think he has an actual real chance of making it happen. But his stats have to be like, he needs to keep that RBI stat up, because that's something that some writers do care about. Not as many of them as there used to be, but I think a lot of them do care about RBI still. And that's a big disparity. So as long as he keeps that up and he continues to push his stats forward, I think he has a chance, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, RBIs are a team stat, and I think everybody realizes that RBIs are not, the stat that they were back in the 80s when everybody looked at them as the end-all, be-all for power hitters. But Justin, I mean, what kinds of numbers does Schwarber have to beat out Ohtani? Like, what does he have to do? How far away is he to kind of get over that hump?
The best chance Kyle Schwarber's numbers have at being voted for MVP are if they are next to Shohei Ohtani's name. If they swap stats right now, the writers would still vote for Shohei Ohtani. Now, I'm saying that now on August 4th, but Ohtani is still very much entrenched in that role. He's kind of been assigned all-time MVP until somebody becomes, popular or trendy enough and obviously competing on that high enough of a level for them to vote for them instead. I feel like these kind of games that the Phillies have been playing and the kind of contributions Kyle Schwarber has been making have to move them to the forefront of baseball and become like a real talking point, because we're at that part of the season where they can really do that. And the writers, they need to latch on to something that's like, oh, it's like trendy. It's like not Ohtani, but everybody's kind of on board with this. They want to see a guy who's going to like homer his way to the MVP with this what people will perceive as like a single dimension player overtaking Ohtani, who's like a 6-tool player because he can also pitch in theory. But I feel like it is at this point like a popularity contest.
Yeah, very much.
He's got to be more popular than Shohei Ohtani, which is going to be really tough. But I think statistically, yes, he has totally moved himself into the conversation. And if you were looking at like objective voters, that would certainly be more possible. But I think right now it's more about, okay, is he cool enough? Is it interesting enough to vote for Kyle Schwarber? And if he keeps hitting grand slams like he did tonight, having multi-home run games and, making sure there's a bunch of craters on the moon when they build that nuclear plant up there or whatever, that's going to go a long way, obviously. For like, if he keeps hitting home runs, he's going to have a better shot. But it's true, he's got to stay in the conversation. He's got to stay relevant and not go cold, because that'll be it. When you're up against Ohtani, that's all it takes.
The Kyle Schwarber Moon Nuclear Facility.
That's right. That's right. More home runs off left-handers tonight too. Just he does it off of lefties. He does it off of righties. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter to watch a player evolve the way he has at his age over the course of these 4 years in Philadelphia. I thought a few weeks ago 4 years and $100 million would do it as far as a contract extension. I don't think that's getting it done this offseason. I mean, it's going to be a monster contract. He's going to earn it, and they need to pay it.
The city will burn.
Yeah.
The city, and that's the complete truth. He is right now the player that they have to maintain. They have to keep him because the crowds, all of the crowds, are chanting his name all the time.
What if they had traded Cliff Lee and not gotten Roy Halladay? Imagine that, Philadelphia. That's the Philadelphia that's in the future.
Oh, yeah.
If Kyle Schwarber goes.
They just have to make their peace with going into the next luxury tax threshold, because they need Schwarber and they also need Real Muto. They can't let him go either. They desperately need him.
So at Taekwon Taylor tweeted at me a Schwarber contract thought. And I want to ask what you're thinking on this is 4 years, $160 million. That's $40 million a year for Kyle Schwarber. Do you think in a bidding war on the open market, some team out there would be willing to pay that, given the fact he might hit, like you said, 55 to 60 home runs? How many guys are there like that in Major League Baseball? The locker room. Yeah.
Sorry, you weren't done. Go ahead.
No, it's good, but the locker room aspect of it, he hits in the playoffs. I mean, I would have never dreamed of paying Kyle Schwarber $40 million a year over the course of 4 years, but I don't know. I mean, I think we say blank check.
Who's got that money? Yankees, Mets, Dodgers? Do Padres have money, or are they just super aggressive about trading from what they're truly rich in, which is top 10 prospects? Like, who is truly in that conversation?
Or
other than the Phillies?
Maybe there's a team that makes him their one big money guy, to
right.
kind of.
I was going to bring that up too. That it could be like some team that's like, yeah, we're going to like build around him or whatever. Yeah,
the Reds have been mentioned as a team like that.
I mean, he's from Ohio, so yeah. I've also seen that mentioned. So I mean, that's what you're up against. And I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're talking about $40 million a year, doesn't that sort of eliminate teams that are like, yeah, we want this guy. He's going to be our guy, our big guy that we pay for. I feel like that kind of takes them out of the conversation, because he's also, a slugger in his 30s. So that's a turnoff, I think, for them to have to pay that much. So I think you're really just looking at the maniac big spenders of baseball, of whom there's what, like 4, 5, 4. Truly, I feel like we could name them all, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Mets are tapped out, actually, after signing
they can't do
Soto. I don't think Steve Cohen wants to sign another big guy like that.
You don't think so? I feel like he looks at players as toys, and he just
maybe.
buys them and brings them in, and would stick it to the Phillies, especially if the Phillies win the NL East and overtake the Mets, or if the Phillies do better in the playoffs than the Mets. I don't know. I feel like he's enough of that kind of owner, like where he's like part Batman villain, that he's like gonna take a personal stake in it. Otherwise, I mean, the Yankees could be like, just decide, okay, this is part of that handful of prolific players we're just gonna like pay for and bring in. Or the Dodgers just absorb him into their hive mind. I could see that.
Hive mind.
He's like they're the Borg, and you won't be
exactly right.
That's very much accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, also in this game here on Monday night, I mean, it really was kind of a close game, an uncomfortable game until Kyle Schwarber went deep with a 2-run home run to turn a 3-1 deficit into a 3-3 tie. It was 3-3 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Nobody's on base. Nothing's happening. Nothing's going on. JT Realmuto beats out an infield hit. Was he safe? Was he out? They did not overturn the safe call on replay, so he was safe. And according to, they're never wrong on that. So he gets on. Nick Castellanos gets on. And really the biggest hit of the game that is getting lost in the shuffle of all the Kyle Schwarber stuff is Harrison Bader.
Yeah,
the guy
baby.
I was going to bring that up and frame it in the exact same way.
Yeah.
That's a shame that's getting lost, because there was a second there where this was like, this is the game where you see the value of Harrison Bader, and it's cool that like Duran got his turn, and now like Bader comes out and hits a lead-taking home run, and the Phillies win like a nice sane score of like 6-3 or 8-5, and conserve some of that offense for the next 2 games, which I'm now very concerned about.
Aren't we all?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Liz. Harrison Bader comes through, he gets a 3-1 fastball, and like you're supposed to do with a 3-1 fastball, crushes it to left field. I wanted to talk about the outfield and the situation going on in the outfield and more in just a second, but I just don't see how you don't play him more virtually every day. I mean, you went out and you got him for a price. I mean, you didn't just give nothing away to get him. I mean, it wasn't a big prospect deal, but you got him for a price, and he should be playing every day. He should be starting every day in left or center field. And here on Monday night, he showed you why. That big 3-run home run, that was the difference in this game. That was the backbreaking moment of this game, and then the Phillies just leaned on him the rest of the way.
Yeah, and I'll point out that the crowd booed Max Kepler when he came in to pinch hit.
Oh no, I don't.
I do feel bad for. I mean,
I don't.
They're not doing him any favors by keeping him here.
No, they're
He's not. I don't think. Yeah, like I'm as sick of watching Max Kepler at bats as anybody. But when he came up when they like in this game, like you're gonna boo a guy. Like, come on, this game is all about. It's good, yeah. Like when you're booing a guy, it does feel more targeted and mean.
That's what they said on the Orioles broadcast. They're just they just said they're even when they're winning they're booing, and it wasn't meant derogatory. It wasn't meant like kind of mean spirited. It was just meant like this is kind of how it is, and he did strike out and it sucked.
Yeah, I feel like Max Kepler at this point, I'm okay with booing him when he grounds into a double play to end a threat in a close game or something, or strikes out when there's 2 runners in scoring position. Just moments like that, because you're sick of seeing it, and you're just like, I think we're all, including Max, wondering what you're still doing here at this point, man. Like, if you've got anything left, it's going to come from being on another team and getting another chance somewhere. Like, I think we've all accepted that. It's the Austin Hayes story. It's countless other stories from Phillies midseason acquisitions from times past. So I would be okay then, because it's a moment of frustration, and it's like ultimately at the end of the day, hit the ball, man. Why can't you hit the ball? Why can't you hit the ball? But tonight it feels a little more like punching down.
Well, he did. I think it was a strikeout, and I think they were booing because everyone else had hit the ball. Everyone else was hitting the ball, and he could not find it. He could not find it with the sad sack pitchers they're throwing up there onto the mound. And I don't really blame anyone for that, because everyone's tired of seeing Max Kepler. And I'm eager to see what happens with him over the next couple of weeks, because I know they're keeping Kepler because of the home run potential. He's hit like 11 or 12, which is I know
the non-zero potential. Harrison
exactly.
Bader has 12 home runs. Well, 13 now.
Yeah, he does. Like, I really want to see what happens, because Dombrowski seemed pretty firm on, like, he is on our team, and we will be playing him because he is on our team. And we know that doesn't mean anything in the long run, but I think they're just trying to figure out how much longer they could string him along before they eat the rest of that money, because they're just going to have to eat it at this point. They have to.
Lots of guys are on teams and don't play, Dave. So, don't tell me that argument.
Come on, Rob.
Also,
you've already sunk most of the money into it. I mean, you're here in August, like 4/6, 2/3 of the season. I had to reduce the fraction. 2/3 of the season is already. I did that right. 4/6,
yes,
2/3.
you did.
Right. 2/3 of the season is already over. You've already paid 2/3 of the salary. Like, it's a sunk cost now, man. So just if this truly is a right-handed, left-handed thing, Harrison Bader against right-handed pitching this year has a 772 OPS coming into the game. This is before the 3-run home run off the right hand, the vicious right-handed man who was throwing the hard balls at Harrison Bader that we're also worried he can't handle. Max Kepler's OPS is 662 against right-handers. It just there's nothing.
I thought you were going to say Bader's hitting 772 against righties. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
No.
Why was this man not $1 trillion?
He has an ops. It's an OPS, Justin. It's a new term.
Yep.
Term.
Familiar with it. I've been on a baseball podcast for a couple of years now. I'll give you some alternative stats coming from the other direction. From Max Kepler. I feel like you know what kind of stats these are going to be, but hey, I looked them up, so I'm going to share them. Max Kepler has, coming into tonight, I guess, had 355 plate appearances this year. That number alone is inexcusable. He is hitting 201 as a left-handed hitter. The only left-handed hitter with that many plate appearances in baseball who has a lower batting average than Max Kepler is Michael Conforto, who I routinely see my baseball prospectus editor Craig Goldstein throwing a laptop against the wall when he plays. Kepler has a 294 on-base percentage. The only lefty hitters with at least 350 plate appearances who have lower on-base percentages are Michael Harris II of the Braves, which overjoyed me to learn that he is having that miserable of a season.
Thank God.
And Nathaniel Lau of the Nationals, who, are pretty close to the worst team in baseball at this point. Max Kepler is slugging 353. The only lefty hitters with at least 350 plate appearances with lower slugging percentages are Victor Scott II of the Cardinals. Guess who? It's Michael Conforto again. And Bryson Stott. Now, for the record, there are 59 players on that list. They qualify as lefties with at least 350 plate appearances. And among them, Kepler has the lowest batting average on balls in play. Don't worry, I'm not going where you think I'm going, but it's 221, and it's the lowest of all of them, which I have been told by smarter people who do numbers does indicate he is being victimized by poor luck, not, obviously the other way where you can just look better than you are actually. If he looked better than he actually was, he'd be out of baseball tomorrow. But the worst luck Max Kepler has been having among all of those guys. So it also means he's not hitting the ball hard, which, yeah. But the point is, there is no diagnosis at this point that would make the last 4 months of Max Kepler getting any kind of serious playing time by the Phillies now and left make sense. Like, he has not earned that at this point. And you can't, him especially, like, throwing the twist of him complaining that he wasn't getting enough playing time. It's like, come on,
I
man.
didn't even realize
Look at these
that.
numbers.
Wow.
Come on. So you got to wonder, hopefully trends change. Hopefully roster moves happen. But, like, why trade for Harrison Bader if you're going to keep giving Kepler playing time over him? Yeah. I hope that's not going to be the case. I kind of assume that it's not.
I mean, I'll admit, I was kind of surprised when they sent Rojas down because he at least has an arm out there. He's semi-trustworthy sometimes in the field, which I don't even give that to Max Kepler.
They kind of have to decide right now between defense and offense when it comes to the outfield. Like, let's be passable at one of these things at least. And, Rojas has his strengths, but hitting is not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bader is just as good as a defensive center fielder as Rojas is.
Yeah.
Certainly a great left fielder. So I think if you've got, I'm trying to think, like, what would be the outfield alignment? You'd have. I also think they should call up Justin Crawford, at this point in the game, too. So you bring up Justin Crawford, you DFA Max Kepler. That just seems to make all the sense in the world. And I get that you want Crawford to play. Well, against right-handers, you put Bader in left, Crawford in center, Castellanos in right. Okay, Marsh sits on the bench against well, that really wouldn't work because you want Marsh in against left-handers. So maybe you put Bader in left, Marsh in center.
Yeah, so I saw that on the show sheet, and I thought, I disagree with Jhoan, but also that could be a typo.
It was a typo. It was an oversight more than anything else. My point is, I want to see Bader playing virtually every day. I think is how it works. Yeah, it's why you got him at the trade deadline, and that's what he showed on Monday night. What he can do. I mean, I even described the trade as like uninspired. I wasn't wild about the Harrison Bader trade. I mean, he was not the guy that I wanted. But if you're gonna trade for him, play him over Max Kepler. Play him. And we saw Monday night why you play him.
Who hit a home run tonight? Not Max Kepler.
I said on Absolutely Hammered over on the Hittin Season Patreon that if all they were going to do for the outfield bat was acquire Harrison Bader, I'd have rather they acquire the Harrison Bader equivalent for the bullpen. And
I get that.
I don't know if I'm going to wind up agreeing with myself on that one. But yeah, I think Justin Crawford could be a interesting add to this outfield. I mean, we're at the part of the season when a hot-hitting major league ready prospect like Crawford gets called up to help a scuffling lineup or further, give them a bigger boost. And we all know the scouting report on Crawford. Speed, lots of grounders, kind of no power. He's actually got a 402 batting average on balls in play, which that indicates, alternatively, good luck that he is experiencing right now, and good luck always ends. But his defense is kind of, the speed and defense is what we're talking about. He doesn't need to be the thing that changes the offense. Like that wouldn't be his role. Entering 2025, Baseball America's scouting report said that the next step is to use that speed to improve his defense, which scouts believe took a step back in 2024. They were particularly concerned by inefficient route running masked by the speed that allows him to cover for his mistakes. As of mid-season, according to Matt Winkelman, Phillies prospect expert, those route selection mistakes are pretty much still there. So I realized, looking at this, I'm not coming to a particular conclusion about Justin Crawford except for a player comp, which I think was valuable to me in imagining what he would add to this outfield. And I feel like Ben Revere is a pretty solid comparison to what we're going to, what you would get from Justin Crawford at this level. And Ben Revere played, like 10 years in professional baseball. He had his obvious flaws, but he had a role to play, and it was valuable, especially a guy like that who can get on base. I mean, I looked it up. His ground ball percentage is right there with Justin Crawford's. In the 2 years he was with the Phillies, he had like a 59 and 63% ground ball rate. Crawford's sitting at 62 this year. I think it would be very similar. And Ben Revere, he's not going to change your offense, but he's going to play a role, and he's going to play it effectively.
And the other thing I was going to say is with guys like that, they usually do have a high batting average on balls in play because they have a lot of speed. Those types of speedy guys who hit the ball on the ground, the guys who traditionally Luis Arias, a guy like Steven Kwan, who, we were talking a lot about, they traditionally have high batting averages on ball and play because they have speed to beat out infield hits. If anything's hit where the shortstop has to range too deeply into the hole, they're going to get on first base nine times out of 10 on a play like that. So I don't know. The outfield is still kind of in flux. I haven't understood the decision making, even in Monday night's game here with what Rob Thompson has been deciding to do. This 6-day platoon trial that we're on. Are we really going to be counting on Max Kepler to figure it out in the next these 6 games, and that's going to overshadow 4 months of play, and that's going to
stop counting on Max Kepler. Stop it.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the obsession with trying to keep this guy on the roster, but I really want this to be a positive episode of the podcast here, where I'm focusing more on the Harrison Bader aspect of this home run on Monday night, because it was the difference in the game. It was the turning point in the game. Harper with the home run in the first. He continues to be hot. Weston Wilson and Ed Sosa go back-to-back in the 8th inning for just that little cherry on top. Tonight is the first time the Phillies have had 6 or more home runs in a game since 2021.
Wow.
And the last time they did it at Citizens Bank Park was July 9th of 2017. Scott Fransky mentioned that on the radio broadcast. And I tweeted this out earlier today, the power surge that we've seen from the Phillies since the All-Star break. A lot of folks, I don't think, realize the Phillies have been hitting for a lot more power here in the second half of the season. The numbers I'm about to read to you do not include the 6 home runs that they hit here on Monday night.
No. Oh, wow.
Their slugging percentage was .404 in the first half, tied for 13th in baseball. In the second half, coming into Monday night, was .463, which was 6th. It went up. Their first half home runs, they had 102, was 18th most in baseball. They had 27 coming into tonight, which was tied for third. 28 led Major League Baseball. The Phillies hit 6 more of them tonight. They lead baseball in home runs since the All-Star break. And their 148 isolated power was 15th in the first half, third coming into Monday night. So the power surge has been there. It's been driven by Kyle Schwarber. It's been driven by Bryce Harper, and we've seen
Harper in a big way, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's been the big difference.
Yeah. With him not being present and then coming back and, after a brief adjustment period, crushing extra base hits kind of nonstop. That's going to do wonders for your overall slugging percentage. I mean, this is why the Phillies have been playing some of their most fun baseball of the season. Fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was not an accurate way to describe this team, even when they were winning sometimes. They would ruin pristine pitching performances with 0 offense. They would have a pile up of defensive twaddling. They'd get 2 hit by the White Sox 4th best starter or something. But then they would go nuclear on a really hot team. They'd put a lineup in a body bag with one of their aces. They would do that again the next day, and that would be really helpful. It was a lot of wondering what you were going to see every time you tuned in. And we'll always be wondering what this team is capable of, but through this combination of Kyle Schwarber's nonstop moonshot barrage and Bryce Harper racking up all these extra base hits and Christopher Sanchez reminding everyone that none of this was good enough to make the NL All-Star team, by the way, and that the post-All-Star break, they have this juice coming out of the break as a contender that made some key acquisitions, including picking up the best closer in baseball who comes as a package deal with an awesome intro like an action figure. The baseball is fun. There's a totally winnable division at stake against their chief rival, and the more they play and win games like they have recently, it's easier to see them winning games in the postseason because these games all have a postseason feel. And I don't know about you guys, but there's plenty of times where you look the Phillies in the eye when they're doing one of their things, and there's just nothing back there. There's just nothing behind those eyes, and you're like, oh boy, how is this team going to go into the playoffs like they did last year? And you're just like, the wheel spun and they did not hit the right point of it going into the postseason, and you saw what happened. But this team, when they operate like this, they remind you this is possible. Yeah. Look what we can do. This is okay, and this works. And that's a lot. And those power numbers are a big part of that.
Yeah, right now this is the blueprint for winning a World Series for this team, especially even what we saw over the weekend against the Tigers. And I don't want to lose that either, because it was a scintillating weekend against the Tigers, taking 2 out of 3 against one of the best teams in baseball, a team that had the best record in baseball for a long time this season. The Phillies have won series 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox, Yankees, and Tigers, and lost 2 out of 3 against the Angels and White Sox here to start off the second half. Just a bizarre start to the second half, but a playoff atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park here over these first 4 games of this homestand, especially including against the Orioles. But the Tigers series was just ridiculous, and so yeah, Liz, this is kind of the blueprint, right? You have the great start from Christopher Sanchez on Sunday. You had Ranger Suarez with a really good start on Friday in the comeback win. Zack Wheeler versus Tarek Skubal on Saturday. You were hoping that would be a little bit better of a matchup. It didn't turn out to be that way, and I want to talk about Zack in just a few minutes. But it's really kind of this is it. This is the formula. This is, you can see this. We've seen this team do what they've done these last 4 days in the playoffs in the past. Maybe this is the start of that over these last 2 months.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about Friday's comeback win in a minute, but that really felt significant to me. As sort of
talk about it now.
I mean, it felt significant. I mean, I just didn't want to go out of
order.
order.
We're tantalizing the audience, John. Yeah. Please,
come on.
No.
There's an art to this.
They've already been listening for a number of minutes. We need to make sure they listen for the rest.
That's right.
That game really felt significant to me, in that I don't remember them having a lot of those types of comebacks, and those are confidence builders. But it also, not just for the players, but for the fans, because That's the thing I remember, like the 2009 team doing a lot, the 2010 team doing a lot, like late inning comeback wins. I was shocked by it, frankly, but it was such a fun time. The stadium looked like it was about to burst into flame. You know, I think it was that if you're looking for a blueprint, I think that's a great place to start, because they need to be able to make up runs in the late innings. They need to be able to overcome, a deficit like that. And they tried real hard to do it Saturday. They were almost there until it got way out of hand. But
they kept battling.
Really good sign.
Yeah, it was the Phillies' first 3-run comeback win since May 8th on Friday night. The first time they've come back from 3 runs down since May 8th. And on Saturday, you're right, they kept battling. It looked like that game was over 5-0. You figure, okay, pack it in. You're Tarek Skubal. You're down 5-0. You get 3 off Skubal, then suddenly you get to their bullpen. The Phillies bullpen just couldn't hold on, and they lost Saturday. But then Sunday night's game on Sunday Night Baseball with Christopher Sanchez and the late Kyle Schwarber home run. I want to talk about, we're like 36 minutes into this podcast, and we have not talked about Jhoan Duran, who I don't know if maybe his presence has kind of helped give this team a level of confidence that they didn't have before, knowing that, hey, games are 8 innings long now. They don't really need to worry about a 9th inning, which is a big deal. But just like that energy, his entrance coming into the game. I mean, they've been doing this for years in Minnesota, but it's Minnesota. No one's been paying attention. He comes here to Philadelphia now, and it's
totally true.
Whoa, what is this? And it's going to be a thing. The whole rest of the season, it's going to be a thing. The Jhoan Duran experience, Justin, we've gotten to see it twice now. 2 saves, like a hot knife through butter for him so far here in the early going. Just it's goosebump stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of excitement to acquiring one of the best relievers, if not the best reliever at the trade deadline. Like I said, you pick up that boost, and it does put a lot of people at ease late in games. But the theatricality of it really adds to like the playoff race component. And I mean, we are like so over the top with closer entrances at this point, and I welcome it. Frankly, I think there should be more. This his intro in the conversation about it today got somebody from, I can't remember who it was, but somebody from Baseball Prospectus was like, oh, please look at Jason Greeley's intro from the Pirates back when he was closing. And they're like, it's time for grilled cheese. And they like had all these shots of grilled cheese sandwiches. They panned up from them to look at like Jason Greeley making this very serious face. And then like him striking out and everything. Fantastic. Even the lousy teams should have a closer, should have like a professional wrestler. They're calling in from the bullpen late in games just to give people every team should get one of these guys. And it feels like it's been, I mean, we've had like 2 of the best Phillies bullpens of my lifetime in 2023 and 2024. But I feel like one of these guys hasn't been around since Jonathan Papelbon, probably.
Ooh, yeah.
And he didn't even play for any playoff teams. Right. So you're probably looking back at Brad Lidge and, I think it was Disturbed. And, this is for the soldiers.
Oh, God,
and you're like, everybody's
so
going
good.
nuts. Yeah, like that does a lot for people. And I think it was a reminder that like anybody who was kind of sour-faced, including the people on this podcast, about the Harrison Bader being the outfield bat, remember, we also got this guy first. And John, you mentioned how the order of these acquisitions probably played a key role in people's responses to them.
Yeah.
Look what's happening. Look at this. They didn't even go to commercial because they wanted to show his intro. Today, the whole conversation was because some Mets fan on Defector was like, it's not that cool of an intro.
Ram it. Just
okay,
ram it.
Cool. They're probably still going to do it, though. I don't know what to tell you.
Not even that cool.
You've convinced them. They're rethinking the whole thing now.
Who said that?
And I think you can look even, obviously, the Phillies bullpen needed help. And so I think it gives this whole situation of acquiring him an even bigger boost that they kind of started pretty low. Like the Phillies bullpen was obviously not a strong point. There was no one comparable to, like they were closing by committee essentially. Jordan Romano was kind of supposed to be this big guy in the back of the bullpen bouncing back, and he wasn't. So you're kind of starting from a very low place, and to go from the negatives into like possibly the highest positive in Major League Baseball, if not definitely the highest one, that's whew, you're kind of like shifting gears in a hurry, and I think that's led to a lot of the excitement at Citizens Bank Park the last couple days.
Christopher Sanchez last night threw under 90 pitches over 8 innings. I think it was like 86. I was just trying to look it up, and I couldn't find it fast enough. 84 pitches last night. And
people were like, we're getting home before 10 p.m. This is awesome.
I mean, honestly. But Rob Thompson recently let him go for a full, complete game. And you do that when a pitcher is able to, but you also do that when you do not trust your bullpen. Mm-hmm. You're like, I feel better about letting Christopher Sanchez go out there and acquire over 100 pitches to get this done, because that means I don't have to look at Jordan Romano or any of the other dudes.
I also don't trust Rob Thompson's bullpen. That's totally fair.
That's something we have in common.
Exactly. Yes. But last night on Sunday night, we saw that he didn't have to worry about that. He didn't have to worry about, putting Sanchez into a difficult position possibly, because you just get Duran out there. You just let him go.
And people wanted to see it too.
Oh my God. Everyone is ready to see it. Like what they have to do, like everyone wants to be able to sing along with the song, so they have to put the Spanish lyrics up. Even if people don't pronounce it correctly, they will want to yell the approximation out loud. And so they have to put the lyrics up there, because people want to participate in it beyond just holding up their phones.
Has anyone heard a sports radio caller say Duran's name yet? I feel like we were all waiting for that. Did that actually happen yet?
No, give it time.
Heard, but it's got to be Jhoan Duran kind of a thing. My guess is that's what we're going with for the most part. Yeah,
sure,
something like that. Jhoan Duran. That's how you're supposed to say it.
That's how Dan Baker pronounced it.
That's right. Well, I heard they did like a whole pronunciation thing. I saw it on, I think the Phillies tweeted out like,
oh, that's great.
Him saying it himself. This is how you say it. Jhoan Duran. That's how he says it. First Philly to earn a save in his first 2 appearances with the team. His 103.3 mile an hour fastball to Riley Green set the record.
Justin has something
to
Justin.
say.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you again. How concerned were you that this was going to be like wow, Philly's got the best closer on the market, and then he came here, like, gave up a 3-run home run, and everyone was like, oh my God.
A non-zero feeling, I'll tell you that much. I've been there.
Because obviously any feelings like that are long in the past, even though after just 2 appearances. But yeah, I mean, I got to admit that has to have been there, even if I don't remember it.
Yeah. I mean, you think, like, because you never know, somebody going from Minnesota to Philadelphia in the heat of a pennant race. I mean, sure, he pitched in the playoffs. He's pitched in some big games and stuff, and so he can do that. But it's a whole different atmosphere.
Yeah. What if one of the reporters tried to fight him like during the initial scrum? We don't know. That could have thrown off his game.
That's true. You never know. First Philly to earn a save in his first 2 appearances with the team. A 103.3 mile an hour fastball to Riley Green was set the record for the fastest pitch by a Philly in Citizens Bank Park history. There is another player who was a little bit faster, but I lost the name. And you mentioned Christopher Sanchez on Sunday night as well, Liz. What a phenomenal performance from him. Right now, pitching better than anybody in the starting rotation, Zack Wheeler included. 16-6 in Sanchez starts are the Phillies. That's tied for the most wins behind any pitcher in Major League Baseball. Incredible number. In 17 of his starts, he has allowed 2 or fewer runs, trailing only Paul Skeens with 19 and Garrett Crochet with 18. Matthew Boyd and Jacob deGrom both have 17 starts with 2 earned runs or less. Jacob deGrom, by the way, totally quietly having a phenomenal season, reborn in Texas. But Christopher Sanchez firmly ensconced in the Cy Young conversation. I don't see how anybody beats Paul Skeens at this point. He's just kind of running away with it. But, I mean, Liz, what we saw from Christopher Sanchez was especially eye-opening because he shows you against a right-handed hitting Tigers lineup that has tremendous numbers against left-handers. He can neutralize any right-handed lineup with that changeup, and he can face guys a 3rd time through the order. That makes him such a unicorn in the playoffs if Rob Thompson is willing to let him try and do that.
Like Justin has said it before, he's suffocating and stifling. That's what he was last night. Like there were My favorite moment of the evening was when the broadcast did an in-game interview with Tarek Skubal. And they asked him, so what do you think about Christopher Sanchez? Like, you've got a pretty good changeup too. And he's like, he's like marveling at Christopher Sanchez's changeup. He's just like, I don't know what he's doing. Like that, he's like, it's much better than mine. He's like, it's much better than my changeup. And I'm like, what? I love it when pitchers can compliment each other like that and are able to recognize, like, no, this guy has something that I do not have. I don't even know how to do what he's doing.
It's like John Kruk talking about Randy Johnson
Yes.
out there. Like, Tarek, how do you feel your changeup compares to Christopher Sanchez's? I'm not facing him. I'll quit.
No, it's
I've
terrifying.
seen him on TV. I don't want no part of that.
Right. I am terrified. I want nothing to do with that. Bryce Harper was saying the same thing when he was mic'd up during the game on Sunday night as well,
He
which
was just
was
raving,
very cool.
raving
Yeah,
about
what a-
Christopher Sanchez, and I love that type of stuff when the players give each other so much love for what the hard work they've been putting in and what they've been doing.
It might be right now the most devastating pitch in baseball, and it's not. It doesn't have a fancy name. It doesn't come at you at 103 miles an hour. But he seems to be able to go to it whenever he gets in trouble. He seems to be able to unfurl that thing whenever he needs a big strikeout. And it really is just what a transformation we've seen from Christopher Sanchez over the time that he's been in Philadelphia.
Remember when he was like a quad A starter that you just bring up because you're like, oh, we need like a guy. Or
That's how he got to the big leagues in 23.
Yeah.
Like they needed a guy.
It was destined for the bullpen.
Yeah.
he was a name you read on a list from spring training, and you were like, "Oh yeah, Christopher Sanchez, right? That's right."
He probably
He's
had a
around.
number in the 60s in spring training at one point or another. You know what I mean? Like that's.
I feel like we gotta remember this one because this is exactly the kind of guy that people complain kind of never happens in Philadelphia. I mean, there's a lot of different types of guys people complain about, like all the free agents are bad when they come here, which is not true, or everybody forgets how to hit, and also that's not true. But this is a case of a guy who was just a guy who was in camp and considered part of a supplemental pitching, filling out the roster kind of guy, and here he is with a contract extension and right now a better Cy Young candidacy than Zack Wheeler, which is crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. I mean, that's really fortunate. It's a total success story for the Phillies.
Last thing, last major topic to discuss, and I did want to talk a little bit about Zack Wheeler. And kind of where he is right now, and get your concern level for him. He's still pitching pretty good. I mean, he's racking up a lot of strikeouts. He can pitch with a little bit diminished velocity. We've seen him be able to do that before, but he threw just 4 pitches, 97 miles an hour or faster on Saturday after throwing only 2 pitches, 97 miles an hour or faster in his previous start, and 7 in the start before that. In his previous 5 starts, he averaged 23 pitches, 97 miles an hour or faster, again, in those previous 5 starts. The percentage of Wheeler's 4-seamers to hit 97 miles an hour, in his first 6 starts, 8% of them. So ramping up for the season, only 8% of his fastballs went 97 or more. His next 13 starts, nearly half of them, 48% of his 4-seamers were 97 or faster. Over his last 3 starts, it's just 12%. He's allowed 7 home runs in his last 5 starts. So, Liz, do you have any real concern for Zack Wheeler? Is this a something that's worrisome? Is it just kind of he's going through a little something? I mean, it is Zack Wheeler. You kind of feel like he'll work his way out of it. And even if he doesn't, he's kind of crafty enough to kind of figure it out. But it's a little concerning when you're talking about velo drop. I'm not thinking injury, but, what's going on here?
I mean, I'm sort of torn between he'll be fine and cautiously side-eyeing him all the time because you don't quite know what you're going to get right now. And the velocity drop is concerning. That's something that we know usually when there's a velocity drop, someone is tired, someone is hurt, whatever it is. And so he's one of those players that, of course, will not talk about it if he's hurting. And we'll find out sometime in the middle of next year, he had a dislocated elbow or something. I would hope that doesn't happen. And unless he tells us he's injured, we can't really assume that he is. But I'm concerned about him because it's been a couple of starts now. It's been like 3 starts that have been less than great. And he's one of the guys we count on. He's one of the guys the Phillies count on to be great all the time. And that's an impossible thing for a pitcher.
Right.
But they need him to be better than he has been over the last few starts. Like, he's got more room to figure things out. You know, I don't think until we get to like 6 or 7 starts like this, we have to start being like, all right, we need to sit down and have a conversation. But I'm cautiously side-eyeing him quite a bit.
It's August. It's crazy to think that the Phillies would continue to get the phenomenal starting pitching that they've been able to rely on all year. I'm not saying it's going to go away. Obviously, we just spent a chunk of time talking about Christopher Sanchez's latest masterpiece, but this is the time of year where pitchers are kind of entering this gauntlet where it's like, all right, if you've been pitching really well, you know, maintaining that now, it's like, oh, it's even more important because we're in the home stretch, but your arm's never been more tired than it is today, or issues piling up, things that were present but not a concern in the first half or maybe being elevated into concern. I don't think that there's an injury right now. I don't think that's an issue of any kind. I don't think we're looking at a drop-off that's so severe, even if when we talk about velocity, that indicates that. I think we're looking at more, you know, fatigue, and this is the time of year when this happens. That being said, you know, when a guy is very close to perfect, anything less than that is going to start getting flagged. Mm-hmm. And to do that in a couple starts in a row, yeah, I mean, that's why this is how this kind of ballooned into a topic. But the Phillies just have to be a multi-dimensional team, and they are one. They have not played like one for a lot of this season, but they are capable of that. And frankly, this is the time when the offense should be doing the favor of knocking in more runs, getting more hits, coming through with runners in scoring position, because the starting pitching, you know, all of the pitching, not saying it's unreliable, but you know, these guys might be going through it a bit. You know, that maybe hitters have caught on to something at this point in the season that they've got to learn what adjustment needs to be made. And the offense has to be able to bail them out, because the offense has never been the forefront of the 2025 Phillies, and it's kind of their turn. So I think now with some extra, you know, juice, with like a new guy hitting a home run tonight, Schwarber playing like an MVP, and Harper constantly putting the ball in the corner, you know, it's time. It's time for some of these guys to really like start coming through and helping to carry the pitching staff that's going to carry them through October. You know, they've done their job. It's time for you to do yours. So guys like Zack Wheeler can stumble, can have a couple of imperfect starts in a row. I don't think it's a reason to start getting really concerned about him, but it is time for somebody else to step up.
Yeah, and they did that for Luzardo here on Monday night. Luzardo didn't have his pinpoint command again from the stretch. He did only give up 3 runs, so it wasn't a bad start from Luzardo, but it was trending in not so great place. So
there was real quick. There was recently on I don't know if it was recent, but I saw a clip from a podcast where Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard were talking on their podcast about I think a point in 2008. Perhaps, where they had just the bullpen had blown a couple of games, so like their pitching that they had kind of been relying on was starting to cost them some games. And he was like, "Oh, and we had a hitters meeting, and we decided like we got to really like, you know, because of this, we got to really push and start scoring more runs and like help bail these guys out because of the role they've played so far this year." And they said the impact of that was the bullpen was like seeing them do that and knowing that was the plan and being and they took that personally and were like, oh well, we want to also play well and be good, and like it made everyone better. And it's this positive story, and then, you know, it's great. That's great. Obviously that season ended the way it ended. It's fantastic. But all I could think hearing that was so you guys can just decide to start hitting? Yeah, you guys can just like have a meeting and you just start hitting. Like that's how that works? Then what are we doing? What are we doing?
More teams should have that meeting on a regular basis, I think. And
I love that it ended up insulting the bullpen. Their decision to have a meeting, like, we really need to carry these guys, are having some trouble. The bullpen is like absolutely insulted that they think that they need to be carried, when I'm sorry, they probably did for a little bit.
They're competitors. They're professional athletes. They don't want somebody else doing their job for them. Also, I want a bullpen that reacts negatively to that. It's like, are you kidding me? We can do our jobs.
Yeah, make them elevate their game so that, you know, they don't have to carry you. We'll carry them. We'll show them. We'll carry them. They're not going to carry us. That's fantastic. Everybody hold hands and carry each other. That's the way this works. All right, couple things before we wrap up. Rough going for David Robertson in AAA so far. He's eligible to be activated Tuesday, but he won't be. He's still kind of as he's ramping back up in what would be like the second week of spring training. Gave up a 3-run home run on Sunday. He's given up 6 runs on 6 hits and 2 innings in his last 2 outings. However, they're more focusing on the velocity. He topped out at 94 miles an hour on Sunday. He was around 91 to 92 in his tryout. They say really they're just checking to see how he feels in between appearances, if there's any soreness or anything like that. Yeah, work all that out now, dude, because when you come up, 3-run home run, that's not going to be it.
Nope.
We got a guy who does that. His name's Jordan Romano. You're supposed to replace that guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got that guy already.
We got that guy.
And guess
we got
what?
The 3-run homer guy.
The booing muscles in our throats are all warmed up, buddy.
Yeah.
You got maybe one of those, and then it's going to be...
Yep. Aaron Nola appears to be getting closer. He made his first minor league start since 2017. It was a rehab start. 3 innings, no earned runs allowed, 3 strikeouts. So he is starting to make his way back. And given kind of how Luzardo's gone and everything else, you would like to have Nola back, give you that little bit more security, get Taijuan Walker, who's done a fine job in the spot starts, but you'd like to have Aaron Nola back in that starting rotation. And I'll tell you, if you get a healthy and effective Aaron Nola here for the last month and a half of the season, that's quite an acquisition to finish up the season. That could really pay some dividends here, as some of these guys may be going through a dead arm period, like you're talking about.
Look at us talking up Aaron Nola.
Talking up Aaron Nola. We've never been the Debbie Downers on.
No. It's just who would have thought if somebody in March told you in August we'd be like, yeah, I think Aaron Nola's really going to give this staff something. It's hey, Aaron Nola could be the boost this rotation needs to coast into the postseason.
You will have said to yourself, "What the heck happened in the first half?"
I'm sorry, what's going on? Relax. They're like 15 games over 500. Yeah. Relax. Kyle Schwarber's the MVP. It's totally fine.
It's okay. Yeah, all through. Yeah. Alec Boehm continues to work his way back from a left rib fracture. They expect that he will be going on a rehab assignment at some point in the next week or two. And then Jose Alvarado is scheduled to return to Philadelphia. As he was in Philadelphia on Monday, still serving his 80-game suspension. He is eligible for reinstatement on August 19th. So the team says they still don't know exactly when his first appearance is going to be. But some of those guys, just an update on how some of those guys are doing and when they might be joining the big league club as they try to fight off the Mets. The Mets, by the way, lose in spectacular fashion to the Cleveland Guardians here on Monday night. A Brett Beatty error in the 10th inning opens the floodgates to a 2-run Cleveland top of the 10th. The Mets get 1 in the bottom of the 10th, but a brutal loss. I'm just running down a list of the terrible things that happened here. Pete Alonso's strikeout in the 9th, a Beatty error in the 10th. Apparently, the third base coach held a guy at third who could have scored on an easy play. You wasted a Sean Manaea start in that one. So,
oh my God!
Now with Ace Sean Manaea? Oh man,
Ace Sean Manaea. So
you only get so many of those before Cooperstown,
Right. Exactly right. So good news all around for Phillies fans here on Monday night. All right, let's wrap up with some final thoughts. Justin, final thoughts from you.
Hey, those Marlins are pretty hot.
Oh, man.
I've been talking
Marlins. Holy cow.
all year about the parity in this league and how everybody's taking turns being the best team in baseball, and it's still the Brewers. They're kind of their stretch is a little more. They're taking up more time than they need to, but a lot of teams have been the hottest team in baseball this year, and it's cool. If this season ends with the Phillies winning a World Series, then that's kind of a cool season, to see that all these teams are competitive and all of them look great, and to see the Marlins, they're not shredding it or anything, but they won 5 in a row. They got back to 500. You ever heard of Xavier Edwards? He's hitting 343 since July 15th.
Ooh, he's a good player.
In 41 games, he has 12 hits. That leads the Marlins in that span.
Well, Kyle Flowers was just named NL Player of the Month, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he has 5 home runs, I think, in that state. He's hitting all the home runs that Xavier Edwards, who's their best hitter, isn't hitting. He has this I think somebody wrote a story on it maybe a month ago where he like has all this power but does not hit home runs. It's a very, again, one of one sort of counter Schwarber. I don't know. Interesting player to watch. But yeah, just wanted to give those third place Marlins their flowers because the Braves are just so far gone.
Wow.
Just so
Riley
far
hit
gone.
the injured list here on Monday as well. So yeah, goodbye Braves. And
who it turns out saying they were done, 2 months ago wasn't a massive overreach like I feared it was. Also, that Tigers series was fantastic. I like how it set up this first game against the Orioles, where it's just like, as Fransky phrased it tonight, a scratch and claw series with all this pitching. And Jhoan, you called it that Wheeler Skubal game would be a 9-7 game, wound up being 7-5. I mean, not too far off.
Yeah.
But comparing that to tonight's offensive explosion, which the Phillies should really be capable of in all of these games against the Orioles, I will still say that, boy, the Tigers were really like fighting for their lives in that series, and they are going to be a serious World Series contender. Riley Green alone was just trying to pull them through that series with his teeth.
Yep.
That game, the Phillies won 2-0. I mean, he was preventing it. 2 different plays at least where he made incredible catches to prevent them from like pulling too far ahead. He had a home run. I mean, that was a potential World Series matchup right there. That was a really good team and a really fun series ultimately.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide, is that the best team they've played this year so far? I mean, that they really played they played a great series against the Phillies. Like, it was really good.
I maintain that Blue Jays team they played and swept was very good and incredibly hot when they played them. Yeah. So, but absolutely, this series was up there for sure.
Liz, final thoughts.
I have one comment on the Marlins, at least. They swept the Yankees as part of that 5-game winning streak. They swept the Yankees. The Yankees fans are beyond inconsolable.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing that's happening to the Yankees, that's what you call fun to watch.
Yes, it is. I'll say that being swept by the Marlins is just beautiful. But my actual final thought is about the broadcast last night, which I thought was actually pretty decent. I'm not a huge fan of the broadcasters all the time, but I thought they asked good questions during the in-game interviews, didn't distract Bryce Harper too much. And they also had this great fact about Christopher Sanchez, who met his wife, who is also from the Dominican Republic, but she came before he did and opened a restaurant and a catering business making Dominican food. And when he came to Philadelphia, he was looking for food from his home country and met her. And they fell in love and got married. And I thought that was so cute and so sweet. What a lovely story, and that I hadn't heard. I had no idea that's what it was. So, congratulations to Christopher Sanchez for being one part of a power duo, a great cook and a fabulous baseball player with an adorable son.
I was going to say, I mentioned him, made mention of him not making the All-Star team, but that picture they sent out of him and his baby son, who he was with during the All-Star break instead of at the game, was just like, okay, well,
it's fine.
He's at a different kind of All-Star.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
No one is sad in the Sanchez household at that, for sure. Well, an electric playoff atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park over these last 4 games. I expect it to continue over these last couple of months as this team, maybe we're starting to see them hit their stride. We're talking about this team gear up at the right time, right? Get hot at the right time, get hot at the end of the season. That's what we wanted to see this team do. They now have a 1.5 lead in the National League East and playing good baseball for right now. They will try to win 3 games in a row for the first time. And I think going back to early June, if they can win the second game of the series, this is
what's happening?
This is crazy. The Good Fight's own Schmeckman looked this up, our stats guru. The Phillies have not won 3 in a row, nor have they lost 3 in a row in over a month. Not since June 24th through the 26th in Houston when they lost 3 in a row. Tonight was the 31st game since then, making it the first time in franchise history, they've gone that long without a 3-game winning or losing streak. They are even Steven.
Is this legal?
I don't.
Like, can they How are they getting away with this?
I don't know.
The same way
I don't know,
they're
but it's gotta
getting away
stop.
with giving Max Kepler so many plate appearances because
That's
most
what's
winning
gonna
teams
happen.
don't do that.
No. Well, they're gonna.
Oh.
Go ahead, Justin.
I just want to throw one more thing out there. Regardless of the context and regardless of the role and regardless of how long he'll be around, it'll be good to see Jose Alvarado again.
Yes.
Yeah. Looking forward to getting him back. A lot of reinforcements coming, hopefully, here
Yeah.
in the next couple of weeks as well. Folks, that'll do it for this edition of Hittin' Season. Want to remind you all to check out our Hittin' Season YouTube page. Every episode of the podcast is also on YouTube, so if you like to watch YouTube on your smart TV, you can just go to the search window and type Hittin' Season, and you can subscribe to the channel. And if you're doing stuff around the house, you can just pop us on YouTube, and you can watch us there. Of course, tell your friends and family members about us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcasts. There we are. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time right here on Hittin' Season.